Hello, Luray Bullpups. Welcome to the second installment of Real Plants vs. Zombies. Today, we're going to take a look at the bracket. Yesterday, you voted against the zombie fungus versus Venus flytrap. 75% of students, that means 3 out of 4 students, voted for zombie fungus. So that will move on to the next round. Today, we're going to take a look at zombie snail versus the common bladderwort. It's a terrible name, isn't it? So here we go.
Good evening, Bullpups, and welcome back to another hideous, gross, and crazy reading of Plants vs. Zombie Animals. Viewer discretion advised. Remember, after today's reading, you can vote to see who was the most hideous, gross, and crazy, either animal or plant. Today, we're going to read about a zombie snail. They're cool, but also gross. A zombie is loose, and people on Twitter are really excited and grossed out about it. Except it's not the kind of zombie you're used to. This one isn't digging its way out of a grave or walking the streets in search of human brains. This zombie is a snail. How a zombie snail is formed is truly fascinating. A parasitic worm, that means a little teeny tiny worm, called Leucochloridium, needs a host. A host is a body the worm, the parasite, can live in and take control of, just like a zombie. So the worm goes into something and it lives in there. Basically, when the worm takes over, its larvae, or baby worms, go into a snail's eyeballs, its eye stalks, those things that stick out of its eyes, and move around a lot to look like a caterpillar. So the worm goes into the snail and kind of takes over the eyeballs. Why? In science, they call it aggressive mimicry, which very simply means it pretends to be something else. But to what end? The intended outcome of this is for the parasite to lure something to eat it. So it wants to get eaten. That's why it mimics a caterpillar, which could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner for birds. But in order to do that, the baby worm needs to plant the roots pretty deep so they can take full control over a snail's body, including its brains. This is important because snails prefer going out at nighttime. And this level of mind control allows the worm to send snails out into the daylight so the parasite can be eaten by birds. So the worm goes into the snail's brain and it tricks it into going out to the daytime, so that the snail can be eaten. Here's a general review of how this cycle works. A worm is formed in the belly of birds and is spread when a bird goes to the bathroom. So the bird goes to the bathroom, plop. The snail then goes by, the snail crawls by, and it eats the doo-doo, the bird's bathroom. After the parasite is eaten, so the snail ate the parasite, it takes over major organs of the snail. So the parasite goes into the snail and it takes over all its organs and lays its eggs, which will grow into baby worms that take over the eye stalks. A bird bites off the eye stalks, so the bird sees the snail. The snail's been taken over by the zombie. Okay, the bird swoops down and it bites the eyeballs off the snail. Oh, that's kind of gross. And eventually disperses more. The bird will go that contains the baby worms, which can be eaten by snails again and again and again, continuing this truly bizarre and frankly pretty cool but disgusting circle of life. Meanwhile, back to the snail. So the snail had its eyeballs eaten off. Meanwhile, the snail's eye stalks regenerate. That means that they grow back. Their eyes grow back. What? So the snail rarely dies, even though this seems fairly violent. While they have no eye stalks, this leaves a place for the parasite to essentially come back out. So if the parasite's still in the snail, it can come out the eyeballs there and dry in the hot, hot sun. The natural world is beautiful and gross sometimes, but cool. But also, how likely are you to get sick now? So that's your reading about the zombie snail. So don't forget, you can vote. If you are remote, there's going to be a Google Sheet come out about it. If you are face-to-face learners, then you can vote at lunchtime at LES. Be sticking with us for the rest of the week. There's going to be lots of other gross and creepy stories about plants and animals coming out. Stick with us. Keep watching the videos. Remember to vote. There's prizes involved. Learn lots of cool stuff. You guys have a great day in Bullpup Land. Thanks for listening.
Okay, so a little bit about the zombie snail. Here's the fun facts. It's controlled by a parasitic worm found in bird droppings. The snail actually eats the bird droppings. Yuck! And the parasite actually takes over the snail. The purpose of the parasite doing this is to spread out across the land, like Mr. Pitt said. Next up is the common bladderwort.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Miss Doffa Meyer here to read about bladderwort on the plant versus zombies activity we're doing. All right, so I'm sharing my screen with you. So let's read it about bladderwort. It's a type of carnivorous plant in the family. The bladderwort genus contains 220 widely distributed species of plants characterized by small hollow sacs that actively capture and digest or eat tiny animals such as insect larvae, aquatic worms, and water fleas. Bladderworts can be found in lakes, streams, and waterlogged soils around the world, and several are invasive species. So here's a picture of it. Okay. Bladderwort plants lack roots and usually have a horizontal floating stem bearing simple or divided leaves. Small carnivorous bladders are produced along the stem and can range from dark to transparent in color. So here's another picture. Very interesting. The bladders or traps are hollow underwater structures with a flexible door or valve that is kept closed. If a small animal triggers the bristles that project from the surface of the door, the trap suddenly opens and a quick inflow of water sucks the prey inside. The door closes again within about 1/35th of a second. That's very fast. And the animal is digested within about 15 to 30 minutes. The trap again is set by passing water out. Very nice. Okay, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed learning about the bladderwort and have a great.
Okay, so a couple facts about the common bladderwort. It is a carnivorous plant. It has those small hollow sacs that look like little tiny bladders that suck in tiny animals. So even though it's small, it is quite mighty. So today you will be voting between the zombie snail and the common bladderwort. Make sure that you log on to Google or you can vote in class. Thank you for listening.